quarterfinals of the 2025 FIBA Women's AmeriCup. It is a third quarterfinal game in this thrilling tournament, and tonight, a battle between two proud basketball nations, Brazil and Mexico, squaring off for an opportunity at the semifinals and a shot at AmeriCup glory. Here is the schedule so far today. Canada and the U.S. victorious in their two matchups. Brazil, Mexico getting set to do battle, and then Argentina and Puerto Rico in the nightcap. Here is the bracket, the road to the finals in Santiago, Chile. We know one semifinal matchup. The U.S. will take on Canada. Brazil looking to get to the Final Four to defend their AmeriCup title. And then a little later on, Argentina and Puerto Rico will do battle. And Carlin Gay alongside Kelsey Wright-Johnson. Kelsey, these two teams, both hungry. They took very different paths here in group play to get to this spot and keep their gold medal dreams alive. Yeah, and look, Brazil is trying to come off AmeriCup 2 years ago where they took home gold. And so a lot of pressure, I don't like to use the word pressure, but a lot of pressure on their shoulders as they want to go back-to-back. And this is the first knockout round game that they got to get under their belt. Miriam Laura is so funny. Every single time she has a different dance as she comes out of the tunnel. Yeah, she's been the energy for Mexico in this tournament, who finished last in Group B after picking up a win against host Chile to start the tournament, but they dropped games to Colombia, Puerto Rico, and a tough 104-48 loss to the Americans. But don't let that fool you. This is a very scrappy squad, physical, with multiple scoring options. And some Mexican fans are in the building for head coach Des Beta, who has the squad young and prime and ready for an upset over the tournament favorites as they get their opportunity to be introduced to the crowd here on hand. And Brazil won a perfect 4-0 in group play. They were dominant, and they had a big statement win over Canada, 74-65, where their defense clamped down on the Canadians in the fourth quarter and were able to mount that comeback and complete it. And I think that, so far, is a signature victory for Brazil here in this tournament. Yeah, the defense got it done on that one, and that's not a slight at their offense. Their offense has been rolling on all cylinders, Carlin. And you look at the big two, is what I've dubbed them at least, Damiris Dantas and Camila Cardoso. Look, they've combined for 31 points, 15 rebounds per game in just about 26 minutes per game. And Brazil winning in a margin in the group play of 29.5 points. That's a combination of their offense and defense right there. Yeah, Damiris Dantas has been so efficient here in Santiago, Chile, shooting 51% from the field and 50% from beyond the arc. She's been an absolute force here in Santiago, Chile for Pokey Chapman and her bunch. You've met the teams. Now time to play the national anthems. Moments away from tip-off here at the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. We'll take the break and listen to the national anthems. moments away from tip-off here in Santiago, Chile, as the two teams exchange gifts after the playing of the national anthem, and we'll have an opportunity to meet the third team on the floor. That is the officials, and three good ones here for this quarterfinal game, the third quarterfinal game of the day. Already seeing U.S., already seeing Canada go through. Brazil and Mexico hoping to be that third team to make it to the Final Four. Three officials on your screen right now: Garcia, Pinzon, and Hidalgo from Uruguay, Colombia, and Dominican Republic. They'll be mic'd up for us, and we'll have an opportunity to eavesdrop in on any conversation if they do to go to the monitor. Starting lineup for Mexico, finishing last, or fourth rather, in Group B. Their one win over Chile allowed them to get here to the quarterfinals and take on the #1 seed in the cross matchup over in Group A. Here is Claudia Ramos, Gabriela Jaquez, Miriam Lara, Alexa Lagunas Sanchez, and Hazel Ramirez for head coach Des Abeda.
Something that's been so impressive with this Mexican squad is how each of the 4 games there's been a different high scorer. And so you're going up against the reigning champs in Brazil right now, and you're hoping that you can get all 4 of those women to play as well as they did in each individual game and come all together today to take on Brazil.
Brazil's starting 5. We'll see Bela Nascimento, Camila Cardoso, Damiris Dantas, Victoria Marcelino, and Lara Gonzalo for head coach Pokey Chapman for this undefeated Group A leading Brazilian powerhouse.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this team, but this starting lineup particularly, and the 2 players who have come over from the WNBA, Dantas and Cardoso, get so much love and are talked about so much, but the other 3 there that start with them are just like the perfect accents to their games. Bela Nascimento at the helm of that point guard, the quarterback of this team, and runs the floor so well. Such good defender in Gonzalo, and we could go on and on about this squad, but they're the reigning champs for a reason. And look, Mexico looking to make a historic upset here, so we're almost underway. Let's get this one going.
Under a minute before we throw the ball up and get things going in our third quarterfinal game of the day. Countdown to tip-off presented by Tissot. For Mexico, this is their 12th AmeriCup appearance, their 2nd straight, and 6th in their last 8. They've never won a medal. They could get an opportunity to be one step closer to that with a win here today. They would at least be playing for a medal with a win here today. On the Brazilian side, this is their 17th appearance at the AmeriCup. 15 straight since missing it in 1995. They've won 14 medals, including gold in 2023, the last edition of this AmeriCup in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, Mexico has had some recent success too, and not necessarily at the FIBA Americas level, but they're continuing to build on their momentum for their 4th place finish at last year's World Cup pre-qualifiers and 3rd place finish at last year's Central Buck Women's Championship. So they've seen some success as well going up against the reigning champs. They're not scared of anyone in this one.
They aren't scared of anyone, and they have upset on the mind. This will be the 8th matchup between these 2 teams in an AmeriCup competition. Brazil with a 7-0 record. As we start things off, Brazil win the opening tap. And they'll have possession going from left to right on your screen. Carlin Gay alongside Kelsey Wright-Johnson. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. Damiris Dantas takes the handoff from Cardoso. Her first offer from 3, not there. She came into this game, Kels, shooting 50% from 3-point range, and that's going to be a problem that woman right there, Des Abeda, is going to have to deal with.
Yeah, it is, and she's so dangerous on the offensive end because she can space the floor and bring defenses all the way out to the perimeter, but then, I mean, she's a post, and so you get her down low and she's able to pin her defender, and it's second nature muscle memory when she gets down there and she got a defender on her back.
Ramos with 5 to shoot, almost banked in a 3, an offensive rebound pulled down for Mexico. Rebounding going to be so key for Mexico. We've seen Brazil dominate the glass in pool play, averaging 53 rebounds per contest. That's Ramos's layup not there. Victoria on the other end on the outlet pass and finishes for 2.
And look, Brazil averages 11 points in fast break. Mexico around the same, so it's going to be a very fast-paced game from both teams.
Yeah, who can open up in transition? We get to see. Jaquez for 2. That's too strong. And Victoria will rebound and push the other way with Gonzalo. This is Gonzalo. She shot the ball well from 3 as well, but an air ball on that attempt. Gonzalo also shooting 50% from 3-point range. One of 3 Brazilian players who have shot the ball well from 3-point range, above 50%. We mentioned that Dantes, now Gonzalo, and coming off the bench, Silva has also shot the ball well from deep. And we're just checking on the clock here. That's the reason for the delay. We'll get the reset back to 24.
And you know, this is a rematch actually of the last AmeriCup in 2025, of the quarterfinals there too, Mexico against Brazil. And the 5 Brazilians you see on the court right now were on that roster as well. So the experience is also a piece to keep in mind when you're watching this game. Mexico, so young, going up against 5 players right now on the floor who have been in this spot. And Lara, the one who just took the shot there, she was actually in that game as well for Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico lost that game 83-61 as Brazil marched to the gold medal game and won it. As Cardoso was fouled in the lane, and she'll earn a trip to the line.
Yeah, you see Cardoso here. Once she's able to get the defender on her back, like I said, she's a lot like Dantes in the fact that it's muscle memory. And as soon as she pins that defender, she's so good at getting to the hoop and using her size and using her length. We had mentioned pausing her WNBA season this year to come down. She currently plays for the Chicago Sky of the WNBA.
Yeah, averaging just under 13 points per game and above 7 rebounds per contest this season for the Sky. Of course, she starred with Dawn Staley and the University of South Carolina winning a national title in her time there. As Bella Nascimento missed a pull-up jump shot in transition, and Ramos is going to put a fork in it. Gonzalez moves it to Ramirez. Hazel Ramirez, she'll tee up a 2, can't get it to drop. Offensive rebound for Laura. Her putback not there, and Dantes will vacuum it in. There's Avidas Dantes. Moves it to Victoria. Nascimento takes a look at the clock as she had to go and retrieve that loose ball. Now takes the turn around Cardoso. Her pull-up is not there. And Laura with a good rebound. Gonzalez leaves it for Jaquez. Good ball movement here for Mexico. Jaquez on the block, had it poked out of her hands, but a foul is called. And it's going to be Mexico ball on the baseline.
Jaquez, you saw, took the tip. Not necessarily one of the biggest players on the court right now, but they went with a little bit of a smaller starting lineup with Valenzuela starting on the bench for this team. So when we see her get into it, I think we'll have a nice fresh set of legs to come in the reserve group.
Marina Valenzuela 6'2". She is going to come off the bench at some point. Provide maybe some size for Mexico as Ramirez backing one in.
Ramirez, the purple haze. Incredible finish for her, and you're going to see a lot of unconventional finishes from Hazel Ramirez. One that's not unconventional, Carlin. That one right there.
Yeah, that's clockwork. The high-low feed from Dantes inside the Cardoso. And as you mentioned off the top, Kelsey, they have been a dynamic duo here in pool play. There's Pokey Chapman, the head coach of this Brazilian unit. She's currently the assistant general manager and assistant coach for the Seattle Storm, so also taking a break for this tournament, and has eyes on not only winning this tournament, but punching her ticket to the FIBA Basketball World Cup with that victory. Dantes kicks it back to Victoria. Of course, the team that wins it all will have the automatic berth in the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Victoria for 3. That's off the mark. She'll get her own. They spray it out and move it around. Bella Nascimento's first 3 falls.
Brazil is averaging coming into this game. 24 assists on 29 field goals. And I think when you see them play and you see the offensive rebounds and the ball movement that you get, again, from this team that has so much chemistry, that has played together, you see why. And that's really tough to guard because they're not just taking it themselves. And I mean, that would have been another assisted shot there. And you can really see it's not a one-man game. They really play like a unit.
Yeah, the chemistry has been on display here for Brazil. Hawkins will try three. That's in and out. And that's plucked out of the sky by Cardoso. Alana Gonçalo, the vets of this Brazilian unit. Starting point guard for this team on the rock right now. Skips it to Victoria. She'll take the three from the 45, in and out. I mean, it's Dantas able to put it back up, but couldn't get it to fall. And Ramos will push for Ramirez. Ramirez has the only basket for Mexico in the game. Looking to probe here. Had it poked out of her hands. Did a good job of keeping it in bounds. Gonzalez at the nail. Can't get it to drop. Hawkins with the good activity in the offensive rebound. Touched every part of the rim, but not down. And Dantas had to fight off a couple of Mexican jerseys to finally push the other way. Dantas on the baseline, tried to find Cardoso. Gonzalez getting to the ground, as is Victoria, and it's going to be a jump ball. Mexico basketball, they have the possession arrow. So here's that size for Mexico in number 6, Valenzuela checking in. Anissa Jeffries, number 2 in red, also checking in for Mexico. And Mayra Hida, number 31 for Mexico, also on the floor.
I had mentioned that each one of the games in the group play, a different player was a leading scorer. Now you've got all 4 on the court with you right now. And so if you're going to go for a little bit of a run and get back into, not get back into it, they're still in it, but claw your way to look to tie this one up or take the lead, this is the lineup, the offensive lineup that you want from Mexico.
Yeah, that big 3 you're talking about is Gabriela Jaquez, Anissa Jeffries, and Manuel Venezuela. There's an offensive foul in the last possession. It was on Jeffries. It's her first foul. Dantas underneath, can't get the scoop layup. And this is Anissa Jeffries crossing over in the backcourt. Keep an eye on her. She is a walking highlight reel.
Yeah, Jeffries had 14 points, 9 rebounds against USA.
That pass too tough for Valenzuela to handle. And here's Dantas in the open floor. She had it stripped, but the official saw a foul and will stay here. That's a 3rd team foul now for Mexico in this first quarter. Martinez will check into the game, and Jaquez will sit. As right now, Desabeda trying to find a combination that's just going to work and be able to get some buckets to drop for Mexico. De Oliveira with the trigger. Nascimento for 3. That's her 2nd.
Bella Nascimento is so tough to guard because her shot from deep can get hot. Her hand can get real hot, but she also is such a good point guard in terms of passing it. She's a pass-first point guard, really, and averaging 4 assists coming into this game. So always looking for her teammates, but if you back up and try and make that decision hard for her, she is able to knock that one down when she's wide open. Yeah,
Nascimento spent last season in the NCAA playing for William & Mary. 16.6 points per contest. 4 boards for Bella Nascimento. Born in Massachusetts, played 2 seasons in Manhattan, and then the last 2 was all CCA as a senior last season with William & Mary. And we have a timeout on the floor as Brazil enjoying a 9-point advantage. And we'll have the advantage of listening into the Mexican huddle.
Okay, so before the game, we said that the come-behinds or the pop are going to be available, right? That's absolutely been the case. You came in, you're so fast, you're fresh. Use that for us by driving, jump stop, Mariana with pace, get behind her and yell for that, okay? See, even if you don't shoot it, then just keep the ball hot.
only Team USA has averaged more assists per contest so far in the AmeriCup than Brazil. And right now, on 11 points, Brazil has those 5 assists, to your point, Kelsey, just moving the rock beautifully.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like what Coach Des Abeda said there. She said, we're getting the looks. They're going to start falling. Mexico shooting 8% from the field right now. And you call the law of averages a lot, and it is going to start to average out because she's right. She's getting the looks, and you're going to see a couple dishes, I think, from what she was saying, a couple dishes right under the basket. And when you get that close and you get the open look, they're going to start to fall.
Nascimento's 3 not there. Moura with the offensive rebound. De Oliveira has it. Finds Moura. She'll attack the rim this time. Can't get the bounce. And Valenzuela will clear. Anissa Jeffries trying to shake her defender, which is Cardoso. And now will get to work offensively. Spinning in the lane. Somehow kept her pivot. Now continuing to dance. Lost control of the ball. Got it back. Moura thought it was a double dribble. Instead, it's a basket for Jeffries.
Anissa Jeffries, one of the big 3, we've dubbed her, and she's had some big performances here so far in this one. So good at scoring, but also a really good rebounder as well. She had a couple standout games. Like I said, 14 and 9 in that last game against USA, but she also had 15 points against Colombia. So 13 and 7 against Chile. She's gotta be one of your leading scorers if you have a chance against this strong Brazilian team.
She's a good momentum shifter for Mexico as she does come off the bench. Meanwhile, Valenzuela just picked up her 2nd foul, so that's going to have her sit for the next 2:17 here in this quarter. And De Oliveira at the line for 2. And playing last year was Ceci in the Brazilian league, just at under 12 points per game. A rising star in the national team program. Had 3 20-point efforts in the 2024 South American Women's Championship. 2 of them coming against Argentina, including 23 in the finals of that tournament. Ramirez for 3, in and out. And that's plucked out of the sky by Cardoso. Kaká Martins with a quick hit ahead, and De Oliveira could not keep it in play.
Brazil is not looking as polished offensively as we've seen them in group play, and if you're Mexico, I think that's kind of an encouraging sign because of the percentage that you're shooting from the field right now, less than 14% from the field. And so you're hoping you can keep that defensive toughness that you're showing Brazil and kind of forcing them into shots they don't love. And then on the other end, you hope those start to fall.
A shot that Pokey Chapman loves is that 2 there by Cardoso. And then Kaká Martins getting her hand to it and able to create another turnover. That's a 5th here for Mexico in the quarter.
And that's the defense that you mentioned earlier that kept a tough Canadian team to just 5 points in the final quarter in that game. And I mean, only keeping Mexico to 4 here so far in this one.
Another drive and lay in Mexico now in the biggest hole they've been in to start this game. The lead is 12. Martinez, heel travel. Right now, it just feels like Mexico out of sorts because of that Brazilian defense just flying all over the place.
Yeah, they've already forced Mexico into 6 turnovers, like you said, and scored 5 points off of that. So 5 of their 16 has come from mistakes from Mexico.
Only benefit from that turnover is that was a dead ball one, and they get it right back with Ramirez on the rip. Ramirez steps back. That's a 2. Not there. Laura, who checks back into the game with the offensive rebound. Over the top of Dantes. Can't get that to drop. Kaká Martins turns it over as Laura was able to track back and get in position for that steal. Heel will try the corner from 3. Indeed. Myra Hill dropping a tray and playing for Fresca in the Brazilian league. Shot 34% from deep. Here she is now in the open floor. Martins trying to chase her down. Heel got inside and laid it in. A 5-0 personal run for Heel to end the first period and get Mexico some momentum as we head to the quarter break. Well, Brazil's defense has been suffocating until Hill opened up the basket for Mexico. The lead is 16-9 in favor of Brazil. Stats from the first 10 minutes of play. And Brazil enjoying the 7-point advantage after the first quarter. But Myra Hill got hot to close the quarter, and now we get a look at the best plays from the first period of play.
Yeah, a lot of transition baskets. Well, that's the only transition basket, excuse me, from Brazil right now. Only 2 points in the transition. When you look over at Mexico, though, 5 of their 9 points have come in the fast break. Kicked off with Hazel Ramirez here. She opened the basket for this Mexican team. And look, Bella Nascimento had the hockey assist on that one to find Cardoso down low. And then, like I said, she's averaging 4 assists coming into that one, but is a lethal shooter from the perimeter. She went 2 3-pointers for her to kick off this one. Already 8 points for her to start the quarter, and then, of course, to end the quarter. So this woman right here on a 5-0 run just by herself to end the quarter and bring Mexico up to 9 heading into that quarter break. It was Hill. We get another look at that pretty shot from Bella Nascimento.
She has 8 points and counting, leading all scorers right now for Brazil.
See the QR code in the bottom of your screen right now. Wouldn't it be cool to get all these games, get all the live streams, extended highlights, stay up to date with the world of international basketball, including every one of these knockout round games? Scan that QR code and download the Courtside 1891 app, and you won't miss a minute of action.
Carlos Alves, Executive Director for FIBA Americas, in the building here in Santiago, Chile, as we get the second quarter underway and another Brazilian turnover here, and a chance for Mexico to start to build on some momentum. Ramos back into the game. Rolling is Lara. Hill skips it, and that's a good hands there by Mura, who prevented that pass going to Martinez, who was wide open. 4.7 to shoot on the shot clock for Mexico. Ramirez gonna collect. Ramirez finds Lara at the nail. Can't get that to drop, and Dantes will clear. There's Demetrius Dantes. De Oliveira. Mexico has caused some problems with this 2-3 zone. Last couple of minutes of play here. Ferreira, Dantes open for 3. Indeed.
I mean, she'll do it once and she'll do it again. You mentioned 50% from the 3. She's also averaging 19 points per game. You can't leave her open. As a defender, especially when you're in a zone and you know what area of the zone you're responsible for, you got to keep an eye on her and make sure that you're an arm's length away at all times.
Mora draws 3, kicks it back out. Dantes. Ferreira driving, cut off by Martinez. Dantes is open again for 3. In and out that time. Mora with the offensive rebound. He's tried to spray it out to Dantes, and it goes all the way back to the timeline. Dantes is going to try again for 3. This one splashes through. And Pokey Chapman right there to give her a low 5.
The offensive rebound allowed her to have another shot up top. Of course, she missed that one. And then again in the corner there. And Mexico, you just have to be able to know where she is. That is the one player on the court right now that you cannot lose, especially from the perimeter.
Hill missed the 3. She follows her own. She'll penetrate, spray. Ramos now looking for help. 5 to shoot for Mexico. Hill turns the corner. Got Kaká Martins in the air, and Hill's going to earn a trip to the line. Great minutes for Myra Hill.
Yeah, she came into this one averaging 2 points per game and making a huge impact on the offensive side of the ball for her already. She had one on a 5-0 run herself to end that first quarter, and now forcing the way to the foul line. Really impressive play.
Giving a little peace sign to the camera on the baseline as she drills the first free throw. Myra Hill, another youngster who started with the national team last year at the pre-qualifiers in Central Basket, where she averaged 6 points to the pre-qualifiers and then upped that to almost 10 points per game at Central Basket. So the zone set up once again. See how Brazil attacked. Moura in the lane, left it short. Rebound up for grabs. Who wants it? It's Moura. And Ferreira ends up with an open three. It rattles in and out.
Did we mention a happy birthday to Aline Moura? We celebrate birthdays here, right?
We do. Moura now turning 27 years old here on July 4th. Ferreira the other way. Counted in the foul.
What a finish by Catarina Ferreira. Such a spark off the bench for this team. The grad student from Oregon State. She is so quick, so athletic, and such a good touch at the rim. She's shown that all 4 games of group play and on display again here today.
See Valenzuela running into your screen right now. She had to sit with 2 minutes remaining in that first quarter as she picked up her second foul. So someone to keep an eye on. She's going to be guarding Dantas on the defensive end. 3-point play there, cashed out by Ferreira. And Mexico now down again by 14. Gabriela Jaquez tees up the three. That's off the mark. Silva and Victoria will sub in for Brazil. Gallegos will sub in for Mexico, 44 in red. Gonzalo back on the floor as well for Brazil. Silva will set the screen for Gonzalo. Gonzalo being hounded there by Gallegos. Victoria has it. Gonzalo looking to get it inside to Dantas. I don't know how that pass got through, but Dantas able to catch and finish.
I felt like 6 different hands came within a millimeter of touching that ball to get the ball down low.
Not kidding. Meanwhile, Jaquez with the bucket and the foul on the other end.
Jaquez has been so impressive. The youngster headed to UCLA next season has been so impressive. She started the tournament off absolutely red hot with 22 points and 5 rebounds. And I feel like teams watch that, and now they're zoning in on her on the defense, making her life a little bit hard on the offensive end, but she's shown a lot of compete.
A gift there that time as Jaquez missed the free throw, but then it was tapped in, so give Mexico a 4-point trip on that possession. Victoria now on the 45. Silva with a good cut.
Brazil is just slicing their defense right now. They're cutting wherever they want to go. Mexico show some physicality here.
Dantas showing a little bit too much physicality on that possession as she fouled Valenzuela on the catch. It's only Dantas' first foul here in the game. Vidales right there on your screen checking in for the first time tonight for Mexico, an energy player, not known much for her offense. So any offense you get from her will be a gift. Gallegos on the drive. Tough shot. Victoria might have got a piece of it. Gonzalo moves it quickly to Victoria. Ferreira, Silva shows and goes. A wild shot, and that's good defense there. It's going to stay here, as they say that Vidales touched it before going out of bounds.
And that's the presence that Valenzuela has in this team, especially before Cardoso checked in. Just a big body and such high basketball IQ. She knows just to keep her hands up, uses her body really well on the defensive end. And so you don't want to see her get into foul trouble because, one, she's a leading scorer on the offensive end, but you need her to play defense against the big players like Cardoso.
Cardoso working hard for 2. Gallegos now moves it. Valenzuela for three. Indeed.
Like I said, so important on the offensive end as she knocks down that big one, averaging 10.5 points coming into this one. But even more importantly, you're going to see her go to work here as the anchor. You can see her communicating with her teammates as the anchor of that zone, and now she's battling up against one of the best players in the world in Camila Cardoso.
Ferreira had the 3-point opportunity, and she missed it. Gallegos weaving through traffic. Vidales. Valenzuela now trying to work on Cardoso. That's 2 bump. Valenzuela spinning, finally got space to put it up, and Cardoso just too big inside, able to rip it out of the sky. And are they going to call a foul on Valenzuela? They are. And it's going to be the 3rd foul and a tough one to take.
It was a strong take, and you see she wants to grab her own rebound there and try and go back up with it and kind of use the backboard as an assist to herself, but that's a tough call. 3 fouls on Valenzuela hurts Mexico a lot as Laura checks back into the game.
So Laura with 4 minutes and 41 seconds, going to have to be big now for Mexico in the middle of that zone. As Kelsey pointed out, Valenzuela with her communication and her impact has been able to be difficult to deal with. And Dominguez Dantes over the top that time of Laura for 2.
And you see how much just the presence of Camila Cardoso changes the zone. She moves out to the dunker spot, which forces the defense to move over, and then a wide open lane opens up and Dantes takes advantage.
Gallegos has Laura here. Gallegos will try for 3. That's off. She's going to chase down her own. Somehow got it to Vidales. Vidales, strong take.
Brazil is not giving up in this one, and nor should they. They're keeping close with the reigning champs. And like I said, the percentages can only get higher for them moving forward, shooting just 27% right now. And you clean a few things up coming into that 3rd quarter, and you got yourself a game.
Dantes' 3 not there. Victoria will get another look for Brazil. Nascimento for 3. That's too strong. Cardoso, 3rd opportunity for Brazil on this trip. They can't get the 3rd, but they get a 4th chance. And then Gallegos with the foul underneath.
It's actually a pretty good foul to take because the 2 offensive rebounds there for Brazil put Mexico nowhere where they wanted to be on the defensive end. They're in a zone right now, or they're in a man-to-man right now, and so no one was set. No one knew where their player was that they were trying to guard, and so you get a little reset here where you can kind of regroup and find who you're supposed to be guarding.
Dantes trying to drive. It goes between a couple of legs and out of bounds. Last touch, they say, by Ramos. Brazil possession, and Coach Chapman saying 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Anissa Jeffries back into the game for Ramos. And Jeffries going to have to guard Dantes one-on-one.
Yeah, I like Anissa Jeffries covering Dantes. They got the switch on that one, but she's able to match the physicality that Dantes plays offense with.
Indeed, Dantes falling away, missed it that time. Jaques trying to bulldoze her way to the rim. Couldn't get that shot to go. Cardoso with a strong rebound. Long pass ahead. It's Nascimento, stripped by Jeffries. Gallegos. Vidales, she'll try for 3. Indeed. Mexico showing some life. A 10-point game with under 3 to play. And Deza Beta with high fives to her 5 on the floor. Well deserved. And Pokey Chapman will take the mic here in this timeout for Brazil.
Take care of the basketball. That's one thing, okay? No turnover. Got to get back, play good defense. I want to make sure the ball touches the paint. The ball has to touch the paint, okay? I want to run. I don't want them to see this. I want to run this right now. You come in here, pushing her through. All the way to this gap. 3. You're going here, okay? 2, 3, 1, 5, 4. Ball's reversed right here. Damaris, you're going here. It's going to be 3 versus 2 on that side. When the ball goes to Damaris, Camila, you flash, okay? It's going to be an overload. But you have to, point guard, you have to take it all the way over so
The underdogs showing some fight here in Santiago, Chile. It's Mexico starting to find the touch from the floor. For a lot of this game, they were shooting shooting in the teens percentage-wise. And now some of the jump shots starting to fall, and it feels like the offense is flowing a little bit. As close as they've been in quite some time. It's a 10-point advantage after that three-point make right there on your screen that led to a Brazil timeout. And Pokey Chapman said it, plain as day, make sure the ball touches the paint, Kels.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have two of the best players in the world on your team and they like to score in the paint, I mean, Pokey Chapman knows what she's doing. Didn't touch the paint there, though.
At all, and it's an in-and-out three by Nascimento. A run-out here for Mexico. Gallegos felt the shadow being cast by Cardoso behind her, but Jaquez drills the three.
And that is just not the defense, or not the offense and not the defense that Pokey Chapman wanted out of that offense. And you still don't touch the paint.
And Dantes missed that foul line, Jay. Anissa Jeffries looking to take Dantes to the bucket. The up fake, kicks it back out. Gallegos, a lot more energy in this gym now over the last couple of minutes. Laura rolling, rejected by Cardoso. And Cardoso gathering the troops, saying, hey, enough is enough. You see the Mexican bench, though, showing some signs of life. And keep in mind, right now, Laura, who's playing in the game on your screen right there, is playing for Venezuela, who has the 3 fouls, as Cardoso slapping that one out of bounds.
I mean, Laura is playing for Venezuela right now, who's cheering on her team from the bench. But we saw Carlin. She was the first player out here for Mexico warming up. She's ready for this moment. About
90 minutes before tip, she was out here working on her game. And so far, it's paid off for her. Gallegos tried to force it up. Shot clock expires, and it's going to be a violation for Mexico.
I'm interested to see here, now that it's a set play, not in transition, the play that Gonzalo runs for this Brazilian team. And I think they want to get Cardoso involved a little bit, as you see Dantes underneath saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's work with a little bit of pace here.
Jeffries slapping it out of bounds. And Mexico really confusing Brazil with their defense. That time a little matchup zone, and Desabeta has her team in position here.
Yeah, I mentioned Anissa Jeffries being able to match the physicality of Dantes when she was playing her one-on-one, but she's also just really smart and really good with her hands. You see her knock it out of bounds there.
Open for threes, the Oliveira, and she drills it.
That's what you want if you're Brazil. I talked about the assisted field goals that this team makes. Almost every one of their buckets is assisted, and when they're moving it to the best of their ability, it's a dangerous team and tough to guard.
Jeffries on the pull, can't get it to go over Cardoso. And a rebound by Gonzalo. This is Bella Nascimento. De Oliveira, same spot. Can't get the same result. And Dantes couldn't get there fast enough. That's a good job there by Vidalis to get in front of her and make sure that ball went out of bounds. 65 seconds remaining here in the first half. And Gallegos will cross the timeline in a 10-point game. Gallegos keeping her dribble alive, finds Laura for 2.
Laura's first 2 points of the night. The bench went absolutely crazy, and I think that's the 6th person on the court for them right now. The bench is so loud. They're standing and communicating, helping this team rotate in that zone, and they get a stop because of it.
Yeah, and here's Jaquez. Will push the other way. High dribble, had to calm it down. Hands to Gallegos. Gonzalo playing tight D. Jeffries at the nail. Great jab. Jeffries to the bucket. And oh no, Dominguez Dantes holding her right leg in the air. And this would be a game changer. Not only for this game, for this entire tournament, if Dantes has indeed twisted her ankle.
Dantes is so tough that watching her wince, it hurts me. I want to get another look at this. If you have a weak stomach, maybe look away. Ankle injuries are no joke, and yeah, you see that right ankle really rolled over. And if I was a betting woman, I wouldn't see. I don't think we're going to see her again in this game.
You've rolled your ankle as have I, and the best remedy for that is to get it taped up again right away. But if we don't see Dantes doing that, and good to see her put some pressure on it as she walks off, and you hear the crowd here in Santiago cheering her, regardless of who you're supporting. The Mexican supporters actually to the right of the Mexican bench, they were the loudest cheering as Dantes was clapping Dantes off to the bench.
I mean, you want to win, but you want to win against the best,
Yeah,
right? And so
never
no
want
one's
to see anyone get hurt.
no. But yeah, that's the good news for everyone at home, is that she is putting weight on it, which she's going to go right to the locker room though, and so we'll get a word on what's up there, but it puts a lot more pressure on Camila Cardoso right here without Dantes.
Moore at the horn, good if it goes, not there, and that's how we'll end the first half. Well, who saw this coming? Brazil in a fight right now with Mexico. Mexico thinking upset here in the quarterfinals at the FIBA Women's AmeriCup in Santiago, Chile. A 6-point game after 20 minutes of play. The stats from the first half here, all yours on your screen, and some timely three-point makes for Mexico kept them in the fight. And that rebounding battle, only +3 in favor of Brazil, and that was one of the things we both circled and said, hey, if Mexico's going to compete, they got to take care of the boards.
Yep, and then you look over at the Mexicans team's stats, and 11 fast break points.
Wow.
10 points off turnovers. They're doing the little things right. They have 21 points off their bench, but Brazil just loaded from 1 to 5. As you see Dantes there, nails that one from the 3. And if we don't see her again in tonight's game, that'll be a really big hole to fill for Mexico, as she's already got 10 points on the night. And defensively, again, like I said, her and Camila just an anchor, as she also gets the assist in that one as well.
Dominguez Dantes is just such a leader on the floor for Brazil, not only in terms of production, but in terms of being the calming presence when things aren't going right for Brazil. And she has been playing some terrific basketball here in Santiago, Chile. And right now our thoughts are with her as she rolled her ankle on less than a minute left in the first half. And Kelsey, you're right. If she's unable to come back, this changes the game completely.
Yeah, you know who might have something to say about it is who we just saw there, the play before, is Marina Valenzuela. She'll be a big presence for Mexico, and we're talking a lot about what Brazil's doing right and what Brazil can improve on, but kudos to Mexico. Yeah. 30 points in this one after getting off to kind of a slow start there with just 9 in the first quarter. A lot of that has to do with that three-point shooting, but even more of it has to do with just not giving up. I love how invested their bench is and how they're in it 100% cheering their team on, and they're going to need that going into the second half because, hey, look, we could all use a 6th player out there when you're going up against the reigning champs.
6-point game at the half. We'll be back with more.
This isn't a moment. It's a time unlike any before.
It's not a request, not a maybe, not a someday.
This is now. Feel our presence, built on strength
and drive. Not rising, we are arriving. Not hoping, but owning.
This isn't a moment, it's movement. Constant, relentless.
Every cut, every pass, every shot.
Earned. Taken. Undeniable. The future, it's already here.
Forged in sweat, ruled by queens. When we move, the whole game shifts.
And we're unstoppable in all directions. We own the game.
Wilson behind the back dribble. Tough layup. And Shy Wilson will go to the line for one more. Can't get it to go. And Miles looking to push the other way. Fires a pass to Stolke. What a look. What a rejection. Killer Cam. How crafty is Rios? Knocking it off the back of a defender and putting it in.
Manuela Rios, she has been such a star in this first half for Colombia. 4 seconds to go. Villalobos, got to put it up. Find some space. Goes up. That one's good. And Mungo charged with the foul on that. Villalobos, what a way to kick off the fourth quarter. Jay Wilson, step back, deep three. Nothing but net. The crowd erupts. And to end the third quarter, Cheyenne Day Wilson. Miles behind the back. Wow, the no-look pass into Van Slooten. The crowd likes that one. That was pretty.
A whirling dervish of a shot that puts the crowd on mute.
Haka spun the opposite way than what she shot. That is an impressive finish. Oh my gosh. Sorry to interrupt you, but at the end of that one, Sarah Villa makes the bucket for Argentina to push the lead. Being guarded closely by Escobar, comes off the screen, puts it up from three. That's a way to end the quarter, Amy. Confidence.
That is unbelievable. These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world.
Back we are here at the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. At the half, it is Brazil 36, Mexico 30 in our third of 4 quarterfinal games here on quarterfinal Friday in AmeriCup action. And the top scorers, we'll get an opportunity to see from both teams. Myra Hill coming off the bench and providing a spark for Team Mexico with 7 big points.
Yeah, what's most impressive, of course, the 7 points, but also the efficiency in which she's doing it. 100% from the 2-point range, 50% from 3, 100% from the free throw to go along with a rebound and not a block. That would have been cool if she had a block, but I think we haven't, I think you said it, like, right, she comes into this one, she's averaging 2 points per game, 1.5 rebounds per game, already well beyond the average. And so every offensive possessions we have from Hill right now is a gift to Mexico. And I think because of that, every time she scores, the crowd, the team, the bench goes crazy, and I think that feeds her as well as she moves forward. So everyone's kind of feeding off each other, and you know, who else is feeding off each other is Brazil, as Damiris Dantas is a leading scorer on that end. She's got 10 points, the only player to hit double digits so far in this one. And we mentioned it would be a really big hole to fill for Brazil if we don't see her come back after that ankle injury. But they've got the players to be able to do it. Bella Nascimento has 8 points already. She's 2 for 5 from the 3 to go along with 2 assists. And right under that, Camila Cardoso, she's got 7. And a lot of firing power comes on the offensive end from Brazil, but it makes it more difficult when you're out your leading scorer, your leader, your captain of the reigning champion, Brazil.
Yeah, Dantas, if you're just joining us, twisted her ankle late in the second half, or excuse me, the second quarter, and left the court. She was able to put some weight on it, but we have yet to see her come out of the locker room and join the rest of her team as they're warming up. I would imagine she'll be the last one out if she is indeed going to give it a try. And Dantes is one tough customer. You know she has to be in extreme amount of pain if she's going to sit this one out. But also thinking beyond that, beyond this tournament, it's the next game, potentially in the semifinals if Brazil's able to get past Mexico here. And then beyond that, for her personally, going back to her WNBA team, you want to make sure she's going back there as healthy as possible. You see the team stats on your screen right now. Well, Brazil has been fantastic in terms of moving the basketball. As Kelsey mentioned off the top, one of the best in the tournament. Only Team USA has averaged more dimes than Brazil here. And they're well on their way to their average with 12 at the half.
Yeah, you saw the 12 assists. That's 12 assists on 14 made field goals. So, I mean, there's only 2 field goals, and they were probably fast breaks, I'm assuming. I don't remember every field goal they made, but this is a team that plays as a unit, like we said, and they move the ball so well. And each one of them is a scoring threat on the offensive end. And so it's interesting to see. They've 18 points in the paint for them, as they usually dominate the paint, or they have so far in this tournament here. More impressively, a little over 64% of those paint attempts, or 64% of their baskets have come from in the paint. And so just impressive from them. I'm just kind of waiting to see if we see Damaris Dantes come back out, as you get a look at her on the bench there. It looks like she's tightening up her shoe. We mentioned her toughness. She's not in a warm-up. Doesn't look like there's ice on there, and so
feels like she might give it a go. And that's a good sign for for Brazil.
It's not a good sign for Mexico.
Not so much of a good sign if you're a Mexican supporter, although it is only a 6-point game, and Dantes was healthy in that first half up until the last couple of seconds before she had to leave with the ankle twist. So meanwhile, Mexico, who are now coming out of the locker room for their own warm-up, kind of shocking everybody here, because Brazil has looked so dominant in pool play, and now we get to the knockout stage, and Mexico has them on the ropes in a 6-point game. Many people, you could ask around at the gym here in Santiago, Chile, I don't think anyone expected this.
No, I mean, Mexico won that first game against host Chile, and then they've lost 3 straight in a row now. And what they've been able to do in this game so far is impressive, and they're not done yet, because they're the ones who are forcing their way back in this one. They've stolen the ball 7 times, so forced 7 turnovers on Brazil, and they're doing it so quick, as we see Dantes actually make her way at the top of your screen there on the right-hand side. That's her making her way back, taped up, ready to go. Actually not limping either. She is so tough. But Mexico, 11 points in the fast break. 8 of those have come from those turnovers that I had mentioned earlier that they forced Brazil into. So it's all starting on the defensive end for Mexico, and they're forcing the turnovers, taking that defense and getting some good offense out of that.
They've been also able to compete on the glass with Brazil. You see them pulling down 22 rebounds in that first half. Brazil only +3 in that department with 25 of their own. They've been dominant in this tournament, has Brazil in terms of rebounding.
Yeah, and I mean the average height, Brazil 5'11", Mexico 5'9", but when you look at the players and who's usually in the key, it's a little bit different. You have 6'7" Camila Cardoso, you have a couple other 6-footers around in the key for Brazil, and I mean only 2 of those over on the Mexican side. And so really impressive that Mexico has been able to keep up with the rebounding. But I think offensive rebounding too, actually, if I take a look at the stats here. Offensive rebounds, 9 for Brazil and 8 for Mexico. And, you know, offensive rebounding isn't necessarily about height when we, you know, traditionally think about rebounding. That one's about positioning and the will to want to go get the ball on the offensive end and give your team another shot on that end. And so interesting thing to watch there is the rebounding.
Laura, give her credit for coming into the game and providing a spark for Mexico as well, as Valenzuela picked up 3 fouls in that first half and had to sit with the foul trouble. It was Laura that was able to come in and help secure some of those rebounds and make it a competitive battle. Deza Beta, the head coach of Team Mexico, will address her team now.
conversation in that room went like, okay? They're going to bring it right now. We're going to go harder, okay? Let's go! We were physical in the first half. I want you physical right now. Everybody except Mariana has a foul to give. Send a message right now that we are not backing down. Listen, the first time we're in two, if they do a ball screen there, forward and guard, I want you trapping that, okay? Everybody else, bring up the skill.
México, 1, 2, 3.
México,
vamos, vamos, arriba,
You heard the message in that huddle. There wasn't much X's and O's being shared right there. That was Desabeta asking her team to bring it to start this second half. And they leave that huddle fired up, ready to go. That coaching staff at Desabeta, David Elliott, doing a fantastic job with this very young Mexican roster, average age of 24 years old, right now competing against the America's #1 team from 2 AmeriCups ago. A 6-point game as we start the second half. Mexico basketball to get things going. Demetis Dantes, who rolled her ankle to close the first half, back on the floor, 12 in white. And Ramos gave it away as Gonzalo, able to get possession. Dantes' first touch. Now going to set a pin down for Nascimento. Dantes at the nail, kicks it back out. Victoria. Gonzalo, 10 to shoot for Brazil now. And Nascimento able to get to the 10 for 2.
Yeah, Coach Abeda talked about physicality that you wanted from Mexico. What I want to see from them on that, when they're sitting back in the zone, is to not get comfortable. They got a little bit flat-footed there, and you move your feet a little bit and you take away some space for Bella Nascimento, and she doesn't quite get that open look.
Gabriela Jaquez testing the ankle of Demetis Dantes that time on that drive. Yeah, and Victoria is going to pick up the foul. It's the first team foul, and her first. And that will send Gabby to the line.
Yeah, Jaquez, like I mentioned, heading to UCLA next year and has been so important to this team, not only scoring-wise, as she's got 8 on the night tonight, but even when she's not scoring, she finds ways to be a pest for this team. In her lowest scoring game, she still had 10 rebounds for Team Mexico.
A great basketball player in her own right, but people forget that she's a dual sport athlete, played softball as well at UCLA. And here she is on the rock right now with a quick hit ahead for Gonzalez. Ramirez working on Bella Nascimento. Screen comes in the form of Lara. And Gonzalez banged it off the thigh of Cardoso. And they're going to say that's a kickball, so that will allow the shot clock to wind back up to 14. De Oliveira back into the game as Pokey Chapman with the quick hook on Victoria. It's one thing to compete, Kelsey, but you know how hard it is to overcome a mountain, a Chilean-sized mountain. And that is Brazil here in this game. Ramos' shot was off the backboard, never touched rim. She's asking for a foul. Dantes in the open floor. Gonzalo for 3. Can't get the shooter's roll. It's tapped back out to Dantes. Nascimento from the corner for 3. That's off. And Jaquez with the rebound. Gabriela Jaquez serving the situation. Able to get to the rim.
That's that basketball IQ right there. She's young, but she has experience under her belt. Not only does she kind of pull up from the three-point line to make sure no defender is behind her and going to swipe that away, but the ability to use her body and spin to the open lane. What a finish from Gabriela.
Yeah, Dantes' 3 not there. Gonzalez to the rim. Tough shot over the top of Gonzalo, but couldn't get it to drop. And Cardoso with the rebound. Brazil just looks out of sorts right now in the 4-point game.
Yeah, it's showing on the defensive end, but more so on the offensive end, just not necessarily getting the shots that they want. And I talked about the assist there. Of course, that would have been an assisted shot, but early in the shot clock, not really moving the defense at all after one pass.
Laura steps out and drills one. And a timeout for Pokey Chapman. Mexico chest bumping their way to the huddle in a 2-point game. And we'll listen in to a Pokey Chapman huddle. and see how Brazil can figure things out here in the third quarter.
This is where we see what we're made of, right? We're getting wide open shots. We're not making it, right? Here's the deal. The ball needs to touch the paint before we shoot a three. That's it, okay? We can run short. We can run shorts. We can screen the zone, pass fake it until the ball touches the paint. No more threes, okay? That way we have to make their defense, because if it touches the paint, they're going to collapse. If not, she's one-on-one. If they collapse, she kick it out, then they're closing out, okay? Right now, the shot's not falling. That's why they're giving it to us, okay? Be smart.
The sights and sounds of a team on the brink of one of the most impressive performances here at the AmeriCup right now, as Mexico going blow for blow with Brazil early in the third quarter in a 2-point game. And you heard Pokey Chapman calmly, that's experience as a head coach, just calmly talking to her team about getting a paint touch. Let's see if they listen here on this possession. They spray inside, Dantes over the top of Ramos. The foul is going to be on Jaquez, as Dantes will go to the line for 2.
And listen, a paint touch is so important, not only because Brazil has 20 points in the paint right now, but because of that, the defense, like Pokey said, is forced to collapse because this team is so dangerous from the paint, because they score so easily when you're not packing the paint, that because of that, when you get it in there, it's going to open up some of those shots. Now, right now, shooting only 22% from the 3, and that's because, like we said earlier, when you're not collapsing the defense, it's harder shots because the defense doesn't have to make a decision. They don't have to move. They're not out of rotation, and so they're right up in your grill. And so you get the ball down low, you're going to open up some shots from the perimeter.
One of the areas where Brazil have been vulnerable is the free throw line here through pool play. They've only shot 64% from the line. Dantes going 1 of 2 that time. Mexico could tie on this shot. Ramos 3 not there, and Cardoso clears. Gonzalo, skip pass. Nascimento, Dantes will come this side. De Oliveira driving inside, tough shot, got her own, and a good block inside by Ramos. Jaquez inside on the rim run.
And that's what you get. You go small, and they're quick. A rim-to-rim run for the UCLA Bruin, and the stage is not too bright for the youngin.
Cardoso too strong. Jaquez with the rebound. Mexico has trailed by as many as 16 points and can take the lead on this possession. It's Valenzuela for 3. Off the mark. And Nascimento with the rebound. Alana Gonzalo. They try to skip past it this side. Good ball movement. De Oliveira driving in. Finds Cardoso. Better offense that time, Brazil.
The way they swung the ball all the way around the horn forced the defense out of position. And just like that, an easy bucket.
Their 12th assist of the night. Ramos on the wing. The backdoor cut. Gonzalez kisses it off the window. Couldn't get it to drop. Look at Ramirez drawing a tie-up, and possession error in favor of Brazil.
That's the fight that Brazil has had since they climbed their way back into this one. Yes, they gave up the rebound. Almost not. She almost knocked it out of Cardoso's hands, but gives up the rebound. But then you're still there to fight for possession. And next time, it'll be your ball.
Heel on the floor. She provided the spark in the first half offensively. She has 7 points in counting. Dantes on the curl. Tried to go window, couldn't find it. And Heel will push the other way. Jaquez is on the bench right now, so where does the offense come from for Mexico? Could it be from this woman right here, Valenzuela? Martinez. Ramirez from the corner. Indeed. And you can see with every basket that bench celebrating and momentum building in their favor. Cardoso with the catch, sprays to Dantas. Dantas puts it on the deck now, backing her way in, one-legged jump shot. It's pure.
And that's how much Dantas can control the game offensively. You mentioned it, a calming presence for this Brazilian team. So when it feels like everything is falling apart and you're only up by one, she's someone who can just kind of relax, get a bucket, get things done for Brazil.
Valenzuela for three, indeed, ties the game with 4 minutes to go in the third. And this partisan crowd now getting involved, and it feels like we're in Mexico right now, although we're in Chile.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. Anytime there's a crowd that's not necessarily cheering for either team, you have to go for the underdog. And because Mexico up against the reigning champs and Team Brazil, it's Mexico who feels like the Cinderella story in this one.
Camila Cardoso in the weight room underneath, bucket in the foul. She'll go to the line for one more.
Yeah, Cardoso having a go at it. She's got 13 points on the night to go along with 9 rebounds.
Have an opportunity at point number 14. Cardoso enjoying a great sophomore year in the WNBA with the Chicago Sky, and credit the Chicago Sky franchise, knowing how much it means for her to compete with her national team, to show up here in Santiago, Chile, and try to win a second AmeriCup in a row. Right now, they're in trouble as Mexico putting some pressure on them. Cardoso with the rebound there. That gives her a double-double. And here's Nascimento. They want to swing it around. Cardoso. Dantas for three, right in front of the Mexican bench. Not there. De Oliveira with the offensive rebound. Cardoso, deep post position. She gets hit by Valenzuela, and she'll go to the line.
I mentioned it early in the first quarter, when she pins her defender on her, especially when you have Valenzuela on her, who you know can't be as physical as she wants to be because she's trying not to pick up her 4th foul. Camila Cardoso is so good at staying active. So she has her defender on her back, but her feet are still moving. Every time she feels Valenzuela go from the left to the right to try and get around, she keeps her on her back there. And a really good touch at the rim. Misses that one, but I mean, she's money from the free throw line, and she's dangerous from there as well.
A break here for Mexico, as that last foul was not called on Valenzuela. She's on 3 fouls still. Almost picked up her 4th there. And Cardoso inside for 2. A nice pass there by Mora.
Yeah, Mexico has had really scrambled offense so far in this game, and we've mentioned how it just hasn't looked like that, hasn't been polished. That time they use it to their advantage.
Valenzuela, a 2, foot on the line. Can't get it to drop. And here's De Oliveira in the open floor. Cardoso again. She's been dominating the paint in the last couple of minutes and gets that one to fall. And that's going to lead to a timeout.
No one can stop Camila Cardoso right now in the key. They are feeding her because they know that. Tricky situation to be in for Valenzuela. She wants to bang bodies down there, but Cardoso is coming out on top of that battle.
Timeout Mexico, 51-43. Brazil in front with 2:32 remaining in the third. And Desabeda, the mic is all yours.
So you're in all preferences right now. The 2, you're in the high of the 2. Okay, talk to each other real quick.
We got this. Es buen momento. Seguimos en buen ritmo defensivo y así poniendo la bola en la ofensiva. We got this.
Gotta be aggressive so they don't throw it inside. Ladies, we need to fuel our offense with our defensive stops again, okay? Post days, we're just waiting too long to hit them and check them in transition. We can't get them lit so deep. If there is, then we gotta smother her earlier, okay?
Let's go.
More ball pressure.
Mexico, 1, 2, 3.
very physical game. Damiris Dantas powering through an ankle injury to settle the offense down. And now Camila Cardoso taking over in the last couple of minutes to give Brazil momentum back and to give them an 8-point advantage here late in the third.
One thing I really liked from Coach Beta right there was she said, before we were fueling our offense by our defense. And that's what we had mentioned earlier. And that was what working for them. They had forced 8 turnovers in that first half. And I mean, Brazil still at 8 turnovers now. And so that defense let up a little bit by Brazil. You want to start forcing those turnovers and getting points off of them because that's what was working so well in the first.
The last 3 missed there by Jaquez. She almost came up with a theft. That was a good volleyball tip there by Cardoso. The offensive rebound, Moura, lands in the hands of Nascimento. And right now, in scramble mode is Mexico, leaving Moura open for 3. That doesn't fall, and Ramos with the rebound. Feels like Mexico needs a basket here on this possession. Jaquez on the 45, thought about 2 3-point jump shots and gave it up. And it's going to go out of bounds. Brazil basketball. That's a little bit indecisiveness for the younger Jaquez.
Yeah, and because of that, kind of got on her heels. And once you pick up your dribble, you know that defender is going to be right there, not giving you 1 inch to breathe. And she just couldn't get that one off a shot or the pass, really. And she kind of got stopped because she was so close to the sideline as well. So a tough spot to be in for Jaquez.
Kaká Melchins fires a pass into Dantas. Counted in the foul.
And look, Brazil is just doing what Brazil does best right now. And that's getting it into the paint. And that's why Pokey Chapman continued to tell her team, get the ball into the paint. Let's get paint touches, because this is what happens when they do. I mean, 32 points in the paint right now, more than or almost doubling Mexico's points in the paint with just 16. And I mean, when you have Camila Cardoso and you have Damiris Dantas, paint touches is where it's going to get done.
Brazilian supporters who have made the trip here to Santiago love what they see thus far from their 2 twin towers inside. Ramos on the wing. Martinez, and they get the switch. Lara lost it, and Mexico's going to keep possession with 5 on the shot clock.
They say basketball's a game of runs, and I think Brazil, on a run of their own right now, has really stolen the momentum, stolen the wind out of the sails of Mexico as they look to get back in it. You're right. A bucket right there. That's going to put the wind right back in those sails, Carlin.
That could help as Ramirez floats one home. Shot clock was expiring as she got that 2 to fall. An offensive foul is going to be called on Dantas. Dantas asking for the flop. And Laura continues to have moments in this basketball game.
Yeah, and she will continue because she is 110% all heart for this team. You see it, I mentioned before the game, first person out here. You see it during the national anthem, the loudest person singing it. And right here, she's the person who's never, ever, ever going to give up.
She danced her way onto the floor. And right now has the rock. And she's trying to get her team a little bit of momentum heading into the quarter break. Anissa Jeffries has been quiet tonight. She's at the top of the key, now being hounded. 5 to shoot for Mexico. Gallo spinning, tossed one up. Good defense to Oliveira that time. Fraction of a second between shot and game clock. Damiris Dantas for 3. Off the mark. Ferreira tapped it up and kept possession for Brazil. Shot clock unplugged right now. Moura for 3. It's not there. Jeffries has it. She won't get a look off, and that's how we'll end the third period. A very spirited contest between Brazil and Mexico. It's a 54-45 Brazil lead after 3.
The difference right now, you're going to see it when the stats pop up on the screen, is Brazil is shooting 50% from the 2-point field goal area, which, of course, a little bit unheard of, but 54 points, shooting 50% it's tough to guard, especially when a lot of those points are coming from in the paint. 32 points in the paint right now, including that one by Bella Nascimento's. Usually lights out from the three-point. Mexico has had some bright spots of their own. One of them is Gabriela Jaquez, one of the leading scorers for this team, one of the big three. She gets it done in transition time and time again. But when Brazil moves the ball, as they do so well, assist after assist for this team. You see the dump into Camila Cardoso right there, and another one as they continue. That's going to be one that's unassisted, but not due to effort for Brazil right now. They've got 17 assists on 21 field goals. And it's Hazel Ramirez who puts the wind back in the sail for this Mexican squad late in that third quarter.
Well, it was the first time Brazil has been able to take a punch and had to wonder whether or not they could punch back. And they did just that in that third quarter as Mexico was nipping at their heels in the third. Brazil has led throughout the game. Mexico has not led at all. They've led by as many as 16 points. Right now their lead is 9. QR code on your screen will take you to your app store. You can download Courtside 1891. Stream, schedule, score, so much more. Download the app, Courtside 1891, your companion app here for the Women's AmeriCup in 2025. Start of the fourth quarter, Mexico basketball. Carla Gay alongside Kelsey Wright-Johnson. Thanks for joining us, wherever you are, however you're doing so. Anissa Jeffries trying to fight her way through. That's not going to count, that shot, as Moura fouled her on the floor. Jeffries on the floor with Laura, Gallegos, Vidales, and Ramos. Jaquez and Venezuela both on the bench. Two big-time scorers for Mexico.
Yeah, Jeffries is the one that I want to run my offense through right now if I'm Mexico, averaging 11.5 points per game. Scoreless in the second half so far. She's got 4 points on the night as she'll head to the line now. And especially when you don't have Cardoso on the floor for Brazil, this is the lineup where you got to get Jeffries going, because she's facing a couple of defenders who are more around her height, and physicality-wise, she's able to now be the one initiating the contact and taking the hits. And this is who I'd want to feed moving forward. With this lineup on right now, I really like Anissa Jeffries.
The lineup that Kelsey mentioned is Dantes, Kaká Martins, De Oliveira, Ferreira, and Moura. 1 or 2 from the line that time for Jeffries. Back to an 8-point advantage for Brazil. Moura at the nail, driving inside, able to get it off the window and in.
Happy birthday, birthday girl.
A little love from the net that time for Moura. Gallegos in the paint. Tried to spray it out to Jeffries. Laura caught it instead. Jeffries with a great spin and a nice finish at the cup.
And that's how she's going to take advantage of Camila Cardoso not guarding her. She's one of the biggest players on the floor right now. She's the one who's able to create contact first, and she does that with a spin move to find the open look.
Moura thought it touched a Mexican defender. Official says no, and our crew chief points the other way. Aylin Garcia making the call that time. And that will allow a couple subs to come in. Vidales will leave. And Gonzalez will check in for Mexico. Laura's even dancing to the music between whistles.
She's the one that I said had a smile on her face the entire game, and then we zoomed in on her, and it was the 1 second that she didn't smile.
Well, Pokey Chapman smiling up at that defense as Victoria comes up with a theft. It'll be Moura. Fires a pass in as Dantes didn't even need to look at the rim that time to lay it on.
Yeah, the Mexican defenders just fell asleep on that one. And like I said earlier, they were in a zone, and they got to know where she is. When you're man-to-man, it's even more important to always have an eye on her. Even if she's not the player that you're guarding, she's that important.
And Anissa Jeffries right now very active offensively, drawing another Brazilian foul. This is going to be the 3rd team foul here for Brazil in the 4th period as Gabriela Jaquez checks back in.
And Anissa Jeffries now 7 points, 3 of those coming in the last couple minutes here in the fourth quarter. And with Camila Cardoso still off on the bench for Brazil, if I'm Mexico, I still want to go to Anissa Jeffries, although you can lean on Jaquez a little bit more. She's one of the leading scorers for this team as well.
Gonzalez will try for 3. That's off. Laura, right place, right time. Rejected inside by Victoria. And gives a fist pump as the shot clock expires for a violation. Ramirez back on the floor now for Mexico. Gaelos will leave.
I like this substitution too, bringing Ramirez back on, averaging just under 3 assists per game. I want to see how she's able to get her teammates involved, and she's really good at that. She's at the school record at LMU actually for single game assists, single season assists, and career assists. And so let's see if she can find some openings for her teammates in red.
Gaga Malchines that time found an opening, and that's a good screen by Dantas to allow it. Ramirez gonna try for 3 and rattle it home. Forget about the assist, Kels. She's gonna score.
I mean, hey, why look for your teammates when you can look for yourself? That's a big 3.
9-point advantage. Mora sprays it out to Ferreira. And slapped out of bounds by Gonzalez. Gonzalez a little upset at herself as her feet were caught in quicksand. She read that pass. Valenzuela back into the game with 3 fouls. And Laura getting the high fives all the way down the line for a great shift and great effort so far tonight. Cardoso will check in at the next whistle. Meanwhile, it's Gaga Malchines inside to Mora. And here comes Cardoso with the foul on the floor. Only 3.3 remaining on the shot clock when that foul was called. Mexico, you'd be crushed in a moment like that. You did such a good job defensively and bailed Brazil out there.
Yeah, this is a gift for Brazil, as they only had a little over 3 seconds left to go. Now they got a fresh 14, and they got Camila Cardoso back on for that possession. So
fresh Camila as well. Yeah. Dantas working on the smaller Jaquez, and that ball just purely going through the hoop. It is beautiful on the release.
There is just nothing you can do, and because of her length and her incredible footwork, she creates so much space between her and her defender. I mean, it's an impossible shot to guard.
Jaquez over the top of Cardoso, and that's just size creating a tough look that time. Mexico staying in the zone. Ferreira didn't even think about the 3. Dantas moves it. Gaga Malchines inside, tough lay, can't get it to drop. And Valenzuela, who's playing with the 3 fouls, just had her hands up defending that time. Ramirez, Valenzuela, 2-man game. Ramirez rejects the screen that time, hesitates and leaves. Valenzuela open for 3, a big shot here in the 4th for Valenzuela.
And that's why she's so important to this team. Early foul trouble kept her out, but she is back in now for a 4th quarter push, and that's what she's able to do on the offensive end. She bangs with the best of them down low, but up top, cannot leave her open.
She has 9 points and counting. Dantas again falling away in her face, and give Dantas 22, leading all scores. Gabriela Jaquez, watched by Dantas. Here's Anissa Jeffries. She traveled. A little too much on that jab. And then dragging that pivot foot behind her.
Yeah, she's got a little bit too excited when she got the ball. It's almost like your mind is working faster than your body's able to move. And I mean, that happens especially when there's so much on the line in this game, a 10-point game in the quarterfinals here at the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. My mind's racing too, Anissa.
Chance to go to the semis with this win and also punch your ticket to the World Cup pre-qualifying tournament here in Chile. And Cardoso keeping the ball high and putting it back off the window for her 19th point of the night. 42-34 the rebounding count now starting to swing Brazil's way. Ramirez to the glass.
Ramirez is so crafty to be able to get by 2 defenders, get up and under 2 of the bigger defenders who meet you again as the 3 and 4 help side.
Mexico right now in prime position for an upset, and this would be an upset. It'd be the first time they ever beat Brazil at the FIBA AmeriCup. It's a 10-point advantage, under 5 to play. Nascimento missed the 3. Victoria all alone as no one found her body.
Yeah, all 3 defenders were worried about Camila Cardoso underneath, trying to get that big body pushed out to avoid her getting the rebound. It opened up the space for, I mean, almost anyone else in a white jersey.
Hawkins working on Dantes. Jeffries had it dribble off of her leg as she slipped to the floor. Numbers now for Brazil. Victoria probing. Slapped out of her hands by Hawkins. And Hawkins being chased by De Oliveira. Patient and foul.
I mean, that's the ideal situation for Mexico, right? You got a 3-on-1 going the other way, and it's the big 3 nonetheless. A smart move by Hawkins to use the pump fake there and go off too, because I think De Oliveira would have had that block if not. So really smart move by the young player for Mexico here. And I mean, we've talked a lot about her, but just basketball runs in her blood, and so I know she's seen a whole lot of basketball, so she's seen that move before too, to try and avoid getting blocked.
Yeah, basketball does indeed run in her blood. Her brother, Jaime Hawkins Jr., playing for the Miami Heat. Her father, Jaime Hawkins Sr., here with Team Mexico, supporting as best he can right now.
And you asked me earlier what it's like having an older brother and playing against them. Yeah, you probably get blocked a lot. So she's learned a few things on how to avoid that in the fast break.
That floater by Nascimento not there. Jeffries came around for the block, but they're going to call a foul.
Yeah, Jeffries quickly putting her hand up, and that's a good teammate move right now. You really want to say, no, that I took that foul, not Valenzuela. I'll take it.
It's only Jeffries' first. And timeout.
They're going to give that one to Valenzuela anyway.
So 3:56 remaining in this basketball game and a 10-point advantage. The winner here moves on to the semifinals here at the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. We've already seen 2 teams, Kels, punch their ticket to the semifinals. Earlier, you called Canada, or excuse me, Team USA defeating the Dominican Republic in fantastic fashion. And I had the opportunity to call Canada's victory. Those 2 teams will have the opportunity to see each other tomorrow in the semifinals. Brazil under 4 minutes away from getting there and being the 3rd team in that Final 4. We still have one more game in the quarterfinals to play. That will be Puerto Rico and Argentina for that last spot in the Final 4. As you take a look at some of the best plays so far in this game. And when you look at Brazil, they've had 2 games where they've had to kind of answer the call or answer the bell. The first one that came against Canada, they closed it in the 4th quarter with their defense. And in the last 6 minutes of this basketball game, it feels like they've been able to suffocate Mexico and remind everybody that this is a pretty good defensive unit. Mexico's still in this one, but time running out on them.
Yeah, I mean, that first quarter set the defensive tone for Brazil, keeping Mexico to just 9 points. But Mexico was pushed back in spectacular form and brought this to just a 10-point game with under 4 minutes to go. And you said it, this would be the upset of the century here in Santiago. But Mexico's got the lineup for it. They've got the skill for it. It's just going to be whether or not they can lock in on the defensive end, because Brazil has been so good on offense late in this game, specifically once they kind of got those scramble situations under control. They're shooting over 53%, almost 54% from the field, and the offensive rebounds are a killer when you're looking at shots like this right now. Second chance points, 20 second chance points compared to just 4 on the other end for Mexico.
Bella Nascimento for 3 that time to extend the lead. Jaquez working on the defense of Cardoso. Jaquez swallowed up by Cardoso and touched it last as it goes out of bounds. What a block by Kaylor Cam, and she smiles on the way back down the floor.
You know, she was frustrated on the last possession, on the last defensive possession for her. She got into a little bit of an argument with Anissa Jeffries down there, and I think this block right here that you're seeing was a result of that. She said, I'm not messing around anymore. You're not getting a shot around me. I'm going to show you who I am. with a two-handed block.
So the officials will huddle here, and I think we might go to review to make sure that a basket was a three-pointer. That is my guess. Possession error in favor of Mexico. Oh no, we're getting an official review, excuse me, on the last touch out of bounds play after the block by Cardoso. It went off of Gabriela Jaquez and out of bounds. So the officials will take a look at it and we'll listen in.
Who counts the ball go out of bounds. So frame by frame, please. Go ahead. Do you have the right camera?
Yeah, that right camera, please.
White. This one, right corner. This one. White. Red. Red, go ahead. Red, go ahead. Red ball. You confirm?
Yeah, I confirm that.
White ball. Red is the last one. Yes. So after review, the initial decision remains. So we have white ball with 14 to 24 seconds.
24 seconds.
And
3:29 on the game clock.
Let's go. You show final decision. You.
Yeah. White ball.
So after review, it remains Brazil possession. And Cardoso smiles as she walks by Jaquez after blocking her on that layup attempt. No more challenges left for Team Mexico. They do have one more timeout remaining with 3:23 remaining in the game. Dantes spinning her way to the rim. Cardoso on the follow.
Cardoso has 15 rebounds so far in this, 6 of them on the offensive end to go along with her 22 points. A dominant offensive performance from the 6'7" center for Brazil.
A foul's going to be called on Victoria, and she puts her hand up right away as she was trying to prevent Ramos from gobbling up that offensive rebound. What a performance by Camila Cardoso, with Dantes compromised with the ankle injury. It doesn't look like that, by the way, as Dantes is moving very well since being taped back up at half.
Claudia La Matadora Ramos at the line now. She was part of that 2023 FIBA AmeriCup team, averaging 10.5 points per game and a little over 6 rebounds. She helped actually a while ago, I don't want to age her, but a while ago, helped Mexico win the FIBA U16 World Championship in Prague. She's been a stellar offensive pillar for this Mexican team so far in this tournament.
Trying to help them get a stop here. Victoria on her defense. Nascimento for 3, in and out. Dantes with another offensive rebound.
Nobody got a body on Damiris Dantes in that possession, excuse me. People in the red jerseys you see there are so focused on getting Cardoso out of the key that they forget there's another WNBA player there looking to get an offensive rebound.
Victoria on the run after the last miss. Ramos being bothered by Victoria. Jaquez looking for help. Valenzuela driving baseline on Cardoso. Tough layup, can't get that to drop. Rebound, Sweet 16 that time for Camilo Cardoso. Nascimento floats it inside to Dantas. She sprays it out. Victoria will drive. The kick, it's open for Nascimento for three. Not there. Cardoso battling with Ramos. It's last touch by Cardoso. Excuse me, last touch by Ramos. And it will stay here. What hustle by Cardoso. Our crew chief, Aylin Garcia, making that call. And Ramos still pleading her case as 5 new white jerseys will come into the game here for Brazil.
Yeah, the five starters for Brazil get the applause on the way out. A game well played.
A technical foul was called on Ramos, and Moura could not cash out on the tech free throw. So Brazil basketball, 93 seconds remaining in this basketball game, and they'll have it on the baseline. And the 5 new faces you see on the floor is McDowell, who has the rock right now, Moura, Silva, Ferreira, and Manu Alves. This is McDowell. She'll tee up the 2, can't get it to drop, and Ramos will clear. As Brazil now tick down here in this game, they now know that they'll make the Final 4, and a date with the winner of Puerto Rico, Argentina, which will come up next. And this, one of their toughest challenges thus far here at the AmeriCup, for a very game Mexico squad who gave them all they wanted through 3 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, 0 lead changes in this one, as we saw, but Mexico able to tie it up in the 3rd quarter there and really give them a run for their money. And I know we talked about them being the Cinderella story, the underdog in this one, but it didn't feel like that for a lot of this game. It felt like they had control of the game despite being down. And what a finish there, but Mexico is so fun to watch, so fun to watch. And we're not done watching them. They'll still have a game tomorrow.
Yes. They'll have an opportunity to finish in 5th spot, which would get them to the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualification tournament, and that would be the next step in their progression as they try to punch their ticket to the World Cup. So with 52.7 seconds left in the game, Mexico called their final timeout.
I mean, what's done it here for Brazil is, we had mentioned, they've got 80 points on 41% shooting, 55 from 2, but you look at their rebounds, Carlin, 53 to 36, despite 8 rebounds by Gabriel Jaquez there. It was 16 on the other end for Camilo Cardoso.
There's a monster performance from Camilo Cardoso, and let's not forget about Dominguez Dantas, the 2 combining for 46 points for Brazil in this one. And you can see the score line. It is the largest lead of the game right now for Brazil. That doesn't tell the entire story of this basketball game. This was a lot closer than the score will show in its final, as Mexico gave a ton of effort, and now their fans enjoying themselves here late in this one in Chile. Hope you are too, as Mexico will inbound. 14 seconds on the shot clock if they advance the basketball after that timeout. A foul is called as Jaquez was trying to turn the corner. That's going to put her at the line. Excuse me, Gaielos will go to the line as she was fouled.
Gaielos, another member of that 2023 AmeriCup team for Mexico. Pivotal part of that team, and she just, last year, 2 years ago, I guess, finished at the University of Tulsa, previously at Texas El Paso. So a lot of NCAA experience on Team Mexico, and like you said, so young that the future of this federation is so bright, and they just, it seems like get better and better every year.
This is her 2nd appearance at the senior national team level, and coming off the bench for Beta, an energy spark plug. And she had some moments here in this tournament that have probably earned her some stripes for her national team going forward. Mora trying to attack the rim that time was fouled, and she'll go to a line to try and earn some.
Sing happy birthday?
Why not? I don't think the world wants to hear me sing, though.
We'll get a poll on Twitter.
I need more than attitude to sound halfway decent. But happy birthday to the birthday girl, Mora, who toes the line. And she plays for Sessi in the Brazilian league, averaging 12.8 points per game. But when you score with your club, and now you come off the bench with your national team, you're going to be asked to do different things, and Mora has done that.
Yeah, not necessarily needed to score with this Brazilian team, and if it's not asked of you, that's fine. But she also has 5 rebounds today, 2 assists, so making a contribution in this team in so many different ways. She's averaging 3 rebounds per game in this entire tournament.
She has some big shoes to fill when she comes off the bench, guarding or spelling Dantes and Cardoso. And so far in this tournament has done a good job of it, as Brazil will remain perfect here in Santiago and look forward to the winner of Argentina and Puerto Rico as they get one to go with 0.8 seconds, and that Silva kicks it off the window. That's how we end this one. The scoreline won't tell the complete story. Mexico showed signs of life in this one, and we're close to pulling off an upset. But the fourth quarter, Brazil was able to lock in and walk away with an 84-61 win.
Mexico is so impressive in this game, and you're right, that margin of victory for Brazil, although impressive for them, is just not the storyline of today's game. Mexico so good for 3.5 quarters of this one, and the Brazil ran away with it at the end. And I had mentioned it throughout the game. When you shoot over 55% from the field, it's so hard to guard. And then you look at the rebounding battle, 54-36, and it's tough offensively. 23 offensive rebounds for Brazil is the story in this one. Second chance points, 25 of those, and 52 points in the paint. Just a really solid game. Brazil looked a little flustered at the beginning, but end up, pulling this one out. A lot of that has to do with Camila Cardoso, who had 22 points and 16 rebounds for Team Brazil.
You see in that middle of that huddle right there, Erica de Souza, a Brazilian legend, joining the huddle, who has made the trip back here to Santiago. And not only a Brazilian legend, but someone who has passed the torch for this same basketball team. Erica de Souza, the story goes, who played in the WNBA for many years, was able to give Camila Cardoso her first pair of basketball sneaks, because Cardoso's feet had gotten so big that she couldn't find shoes. So de Souza would have those hand-me-downs every offseason, and that is the reason why Camila Cardoso is now playing for the national team. And Camila Cardoso 2 wins away from winning another AmeriCup for her country. And there she is smiling with some of the youngsters who she promised actually at the half. I saw it. She ran out of the halftime tunnel and said, you know what, I'll be back at the end of the game to sign and take some pictures with y'all. And she's doing that right now. And
just for context, that's out of the way.
Yeah.
That's the opposite direction of where she has to go. So kudos to Camila Cardoso. She knows how important it is for these young girls, these young players, these young boys over there.
Yeah. She knows what Erica de Souza did for her to change her life. Now hoping to do the same for the next generation of basketball players here in Santiago, Chile. Best pictures from the fourth quarter. It was a dominant performance in the fourth for Brazil as they pulled away in this one. But the scoreline won't tell the entire story. It is 84-61, but I think Mexico really showed well. And in the middle of the third quarter, had the game tied and a chance to take the lead on a couple of possessions. But Brazil then tightened the screws and were able to figure it out. And Pokey Chapman's bunch will now think about what's next. And what's next is trying to defend their AmeriCup championship and then thinking about the World Cup in Germany in 2026.
Hazel Ramirez, as you see here, finishes with 11 points. An impressive outing from her. She's been the leading scorer before with 15 and throws in a couple dimes as well. But you're right, it's Brazil with the absolutely dominant victory here against Mexico. Mexico, a couple of shots ago, you saw them walking off the court. Heads held high, Carlin, and I hope they remember that in coming into tomorrow's game, because what a performance by them. The crowd got behind them. Their bench was all in, and they tied it up with the reigning champs. Just Camila Cardoso's performance today would have dominated anyone. The best of the best, and she is the best of the best in the world as the leading scorer for the reigning champs right now. And you look at the standings. One more game, Carlin.
One more game to go. Puerto Rico and Argentina. Brazil, Canada, and USA already into the Final Four here in Santiago. As you take a look at the bracket, Brazil will take on the winner of Puerto Rico and Argentina. Team USA and Canada will do battle in the semifinals. Both these games happening tomorrow here in Santiago, Chile. Well, sometimes you get some lessons that you learn after a loss, and this loss for Mexico will bore fruit for the future of this program. And Brazil will now take one step closer to their task at hand, and that's standing on top of the podium. 84-61 your final. For Kelsey, I'm Carlin. So long.